I know a lot of people talk about having daddy issues and mommy issues, right? And in life, as you get older, you start to realize that, yo, this is not just like some trendy thing to say or to label people. We really all, at some point, one way or another, may be dealing with mommy or daddy issues. And in relationships, it can be so detrimental. It could be detrimental if you have children of your own, because all of those toxic traits, you start to project them onto your own children. And then you repeat cycles that don't need to be repeated. And then in your relationship, when you take it into your marriage, there tends to be a lot of, division, arguments, like people feeling rejected, underappreciated, etc. And this goes for both male and female. And we're going to talk about all of the traits of mommy and daddy issues and how it can impact you, so that you can see for yourself if this is something that you're dealing with. You can know to start seeking the help that's going to transform your life. And you can also spot it in others. And so you can kind of protect yourself. I'm not saying to avoid people, because we all are healing or whatever, but it might not be in your best interest to date someone that still struggles heavily with mommy or daddy issues and is not actively seeking to heal or work on that. It will impact your relationship in more ways than you can imagine. And it will impact the future of your children, your offspring, with that person, if you around them. And even in friendships, it can really impact how deeply you connect with your friends and how deeply your friends connect with you if you're not being cautious about making those connections with people who are just healed. We're going to get into all of that and more, but first, hey friend, welcome to my channel, Creating Elude Mental Gems. This channel is dedicated to leveling up in all areas of your life. So let us learn together, read together, but most importantly, grow together. Now, without further ado, let's get into this video. Let's start first with mommy issues. So I'm going to tell you the symptoms of mommy's issues, and then we're going to do daddy's issues, and then finally, how you guys can overcome this and work on it. First, with mommy issues, the signs are you hate physical touch, but also want it so bad. You easily get attached to aunts, other people, moms, like female figures around your life. And even if they're friends, if you're younger, you're more attracted to older women as friends than you are with people in your age group or within your circle. Like, you always looking for a mentor figure. And even for men, they tend to be attracted to older women. A lot of men that have mommy issues are attracted to older women, but they look for female figures, and some may inhibit even female-like characteristics oftentimes. Next is you struggle with showing and receiving affection, and you miss your childhood more than anything. The other is you have low self-confidence, you have low self-esteem, and you reject people, but you are very clingy, which is like an oxymoron, but trust me, it's possible. You can push people away. You don't like physical touch, you don't like kisses and stuff like that, or holding hands and stuff, but you're also very clingy. You want those people around. You don't want them to go give that to somebody else. It's very toxic. And this is why I say you have to be with people who are healing or healed from this, so that it doesn't become a problem, because it can be very toxic. And those tend to be the people that don't want to love you right, but also don't want you to go out there and find the love that you deserve. You are self-hating. You usually talk down to yourself and find things to hate about yourself, whether it's physical features or mental, spiritual, whatever, but you very critical of yourself, and it can come off as self-loathing or self-hating. You act like a parent to others. Usually people that struggle with mommy issues, like women especially that struggle with mother issues, like mommy issues, tend to be the nurturer in their groups, and they tend to mother everyone else. When they get into a relationship with a man, they tend to mother him down. They're the types that will do everything for the guy, cook, clean, and steal work, do all these things. They're like working mules. They have no sense of self-worth. The guy usually can walk all over them and, do everything. They don't hold the guy accountable for much. The guy knows he can easily do what he wants in this relationship. And then she's very nurturing. And how it impacts you when you have children is that if you're a mother, for instance, especially if you have boys, you'll find that you over the boys, not like a helicopter mom, but like, you're just overly mothering, overly nurturing, where it's not a bad thing because you're a mother, you're supposed to nurture your children, but it's to the point where it's almost as if the kids cannot breathe, they're suffocated. Those are usually kids that grow up to escape those parents. You're just over watchful, you do too much, you're over nurturing. It's like the kid cannot suffer any kind of inconveniences at all to strengthen their character and prepare them for the world. It's kind of like you shelter them and you overdote on them. They can do no wrong. You all know this develops men who are mama's boys to a toxic way, to where the mom, usually if you marry a guy who had a mother like that, the mother will have a huge say-so in your life and will always be part of your life, your home, etc. And for women, moms who are like that, those tend to be the moms that live through their daughters. You know, they want their daughters to have hairstyles they always wanted to have, to go to schools they always wanted to go to schools. And even your marriage, you find that your mom has a huge say-so, and you cannot make decisions with your husband and your own children. They tend to be the grandparents that want to take the kids from you and raise the kids and don't really trust you to raise your own kids. So you see how the cycle just continues with the mommy issues. And this is why it's important to, fix and nip in the bud. Then you also develop trust issues, which is both for both mommy and daddy issues. But people that suffer with this are not easily going to trust people as easily as others. Next is confused if you like women because you want their validation. And I'm not talking in an intimate way or a sexual way, but there's a lot of women, like, for instance, toxically, if you suffer with mommy issues, you tend to be attracted in the friendship way to women who reject you a lot. Like, you're probably the type that have a friend group that don't really want to hang out with you like that. They find you annoying or whatever case. You're always the one pushing. You're always pushing to get validation from those difficult to love people, or those people that don't really want to give you the love that you deserve, because it's that wounded child in you. So it's like, do you really like this person? You have to ask yourself, for all your friends, do you genuinely like your friends because of maybe the value they add to your life, their morale, or they make you feel good, you have a good time, you can have great conversations? Can you list 5 great reasons that are not superficial that you're friends with this person or you like them? Or if you cannot do that, then it might just be you're still pushing for those friendships because you want the validation of those women and not necessarily because you like them. And it's the same for relationships. That's typically on the side of men, but we're going to say the same for men. But even men who have mommy issues, the women that they're attracted to sometimes treat them terrible. Men that who have mommy issues usually be with very strong women, oftentimes that can be controlling, can be, reject them. And those tend to be the men that like difficult women. Like, we did breakdowns and we say why men prefer itches and women that treat them bad. And you got to be a little tough to get and stuff like that. Those men usually are turned on. They have an animalistic attraction to women like that, who are a little bit more difficult, because the rejection takes them to a safe place. I know it's very toxic, but it's like a safe place for them, the mommy issues that they had. Okay. So it's not that they really love the woman because, hey, what are 5 positive traits that are not superficial that you love about this woman? That's not just, the feeling like you're sticking around because of the rejection and stuff. It's common. Although they're hurt, it's like a beautiful pain, if I can describe it. Next is you over-sexualize yourself to feel worthy. It could be a lot, because a lot of people think it's just daddy issues that make women over-sexualize themselves, or men, etc. But no, mommy issues can be just as damaging, where the attention you're looking for, you're not going to get it from mom, so you're going to get it from men, or whatever the case is. For both mommy and daddy issues, if you have those issues, you tend to be a little bit more overtly sensual and out there. You overdo it sometimes, and it's just an attention thing. Next is doing the same toxic stuff your mom did. If you find like you grew up, you say, hey, that will never be me. I hate how she did this or how she talked like this and stuff, and it would never be me. I will never exhibit these toxic traits. And then you start to see yourself slowly becoming that person. Like, a lot of people hate their moms. They're like, my mom took a lot from my dad and this and that, only to find themselves taking a lot from their husbands. You'll see those same women that swear on their graves, they would never, on their mother's grave, on the family's grave, they would never exhibit such traits, start to exhibit those traits, okay? Even men, stuff that they used to hate with their mom, maybe their mom rejected them a lot or overdoted it and this and that, and then they're doing it to their own kids. They start to have mannerisms, say things, and move away and stuff. So typically, if you start to see that you start to exhibit some of these behaviors, you might be like, you know what? It's not even just a DNA thing or whatever. I have some issues here that I have to heal, because when we don't heal, we repeat patterns. That is the biggest red flag of you not healed, because you're repeating patterns of things that hurt you. So now let's get into daddy issues. So with daddy issues, usually the number one biggest sign for women that suffer daddy issues is that they tend to date older men. It just is. I know it sounds like a stigma, stereotypical, but it's true. That's the biggest sign. They look for older figures, just like women look to befriend older women, aunts and uncles or whatever. They look for that male. And unfortunately, when they're looking for that validation from men and that relationship with men, sometimes it's not even sexual. They just want a father figure. Men take advantage of that. It's disgusting, but a lot of older men take advantage of that. They know that they want to, guide you or steer you. They take advantage of your daddy issues and when you're not healed. And instead of just being there for you as that masculine figure that's older, they tend to just take advantage. And these women, because they're so grateful and they feel so attached, they cannot see it. You are wasting your breath to explain to them why this dynamic should not work. Like if you've ever talked to a woman like 18, 19 that's dating a 45-year-old or a 50-year-old, it's just like, love is love. You don't know what you're talking about. It's going to work. You cannot tell them anything. You just have to wait till they get older to be in like 35, 40s for them to see it themselves. They will not see it a lot of times. It's a form of grooming, but that is one of the signs. Now, I'm not talking about dating older men if you're like, 25 or 30, like you're developed, you're a full adult, and then you go date a 50-year-old. Hey, do you, okay? You are developed enough, but when you're under 20, like you're a Leonardo DiCaprio type of guy, and you're dating anyone who's older than 25, you're not gonna date them. It's under. There's a problem there. Getting too attached too fast to people who give you the slightest bit of affection or who are just nice. That's it. And those tend to be for both men and women. It's like anyone who shows them any kind of niceness, they're just quickly, like they see the best. They're very naive. They see the best in everyone, because it's kind of like wanting to see the best in your dad. And he said he's going to pick you up from soccer practice or whatever. Maybe he never came. And no kid wants to feel disappointed. So they make up stuff mentally to kind of be okay with the absence. And so it's like anytime the dad would come, make up for like 2 years of never coming to my birthday party, but 1 year he came and he just brought me a balloon, then it's like, oh my goodness, he does love me, and you overcompensate. And so it's kind of like that effect. And you're with someone who gives you the bare minimum and you just head over heels because it's the bare minimum. And even with men in friendships, because men be in toxic friendships too, and they be in toxic relationships, but it's kind of like, it's the same thing. Anyone who shows you any kind of kindness. So men with daddy issues, typically, if a woman smile at them, they already feel like that's their wife, and they can even become aggressive and territorial, stalking, all of that stuff. And they don't understand no. They don't always understand no. Not all men with daddy issues are like that, but they tend to be the ones that think, well, you liked it. It's almost like they misunderstand any act of kindness, and you have to be very direct and like no, and no giggling, no, people pleasing, overcompensating with those types, because they do not understand no. They take the slightest bit of niceness as a team, and it's not necessarily their fault. It's just really the damage that parents did, constantly seeking male validation, usually from older guys, and younger guys do that too. Like they want to wear cologne and start shaving before their time. And men, a lot of them won't admit it, but they get wealthy to stunt on other men. They dress fly too for other men, just like a lot of women dress for other women. Like there's a way I might do my makeup or hair or get dressed. I know a guy will never appreciate it as much as a woman who understands makeup and dress and stuff, and be like, okay, we look at each other, not even in a sexual way, but like, oh, you super fly, I like this. Here's a girl. We understand coordinations, right? We have our own language. It's the same for men. And a lot of men with daddy issues, it's like they'll even flex about how many women they slept with to validate themselves to win some kind of prize from other men. A lot of men act out. Like if you've ever, I used to date this guy that acted very differently around his friends when he is around like women. It's different. He's so respectful, so nice, the sweetest guy around women. And then man is this I was like, that was it for me. But it's a form of wanting to validate yourself, wanting to get brownie points, wanting to be just get validation from even guys your age or older men, especially older men, because it's kind of like that daddy issue. Maybe if I was good enough, daddy would have been around more, or daddy would have loved me more, or daddy wouldn't have been as angry or drink as much. So it's kind of like you're always trying to please the person so that you won't have to suffer the hurt that you're hurting. You're more fragile and will cry when a male screams at you, especially if you're a woman. You cannot take any man screaming at you, speaking to you in a kind of way, crying. You easily shrink, you cry, you feel, hurt. And it's the same thing for men. They might not cry, but they don't like confrontation with other men like that when they're dealing with daddy issues or strong aggression. They're like very, especially if their daddy issues stem from your dad being abusive, an alcoholic, etc. You either retaliate from strong aggression, because women might cry, but the men might get aggressive back. So they get into fights often. They're very aggressive. They don't like it. It's kind of a protective mechanism. Imaginations of being RAPE'd, touch without your permission, especially for women. Even if your dad didn't do that, like it wasn't the issue that you had, but it's in your head often, a lot of times. And sometimes I'll say, because there's forms of therapy, EMDR, I believe, but we did The Body Keeps the Score, where a lot of people were touched and they don't know. It's not even in their memory. And then they go to therapy like EMDR and it pulls out that traumatic memory that you suppress. God created the brain in such a way that you can shut off trauma. We all know that. So sometimes the imaginations is not just an imagination. It's a suppressed memory. You might have to check that out. But if you go check it out, you go to therapy, you know for a fact that never happened to you, whether you're male or female, your dad, because a lot of males get touched by their dads too, or other male figures in their life and feel like a lack of protection. If you feel like it's just your imagination, okay, then no, hey, I need healing. But sometimes imagination is just a suppressed memory. And I know that just got dark really quick, but check that out, because a lot of times we can't shake a feeling and it's not warranted, but it might have been something that happened to you when you was a baby. You couldn't even remember, but it happened to you. And this is why there's this odd dynamic between you and that male figure in your life. Next is making disturbing scenarios in their heads. By disturbing, just like violent, like intrusive thoughts, violent scenarios, or inappropriate scenarios, and just thinking things that is a little controversial, and that might, like if you spoke it out loud, it might just, yeah, you got to consider that. I know that's dark. So the worst thing you can do is know that, hey, I might need a little bit of healing, or I know someone that might need it, and don't pay attention to it. Because yeah, not everyone gets violent. A lot of people have their mommy and daddy issues and are sweet people and go on to live long lives, never hurting anyone. But 9 out of 10 times you can, spread the trauma to your offspring, and even you with it can become violent or might already be violent. Maybe you're in a relationship and sometimes you just get so angry and you're a woman and you're hitting on the guy, you're verbally abusive, even if you're not putting hands on him, you're saying degrading, demeaning things, and vice versa with the guy. Like you just are very toxic and abusive to women, and women say the same thing about you all the time. They don't feel safe in your presence. It's a sign that you need help and healing, and getting help it's not your fault. A lot of people don't want to admit if they have mommy issues or daddy issues because they feel somehow it's their fault. No, it's the parents who raised you. And even them, it could have been their own parents putting trauma onto them, and then their parents. I always look at parents that way. Like they all have their own trauma. They had lives before us. They went through their own thing that they probably would never even tell you as a child. So it's not even their fault that they're this toxic. But at the same token, if they're not willing to heal, you don't have to keep yourself in their presence. And you have to want to break generational curses and want to heal for yourself, for your future children, for your future spouse. You want to present your best healed self before you get married. And if you're already married, I'm not saying it's too late. It's never too late to heal. It's never too late to heal, even with kids, especially. But also, I wouldn't be me if I didn't, go there. But prayer, of course, really, really helps. Don't underestimate the power of prayer. More than anything in life, prayer has got me through a lot of the traumas that I dealt with. And I didn't even know the term trauma, understand all the linguistics of it all, the psychology of it all, until I got older. And I'm like, wow, and doing a lot of self-reflection. But really, God gives you this peace where he shows you what work to do. It's not just he gives you the peace and everything's all good, but he shows you daily to chip away at your hardened heart, and really gives you a heart of flesh. Okay, that's soft, that's receptive, that is kind, that is gentle, that can accept love, compliments. I used to be a person, I couldn't even receive compliments. It was cringe and stuff. I couldn't hug my friends or tell them I love them or I miss them, or be in relationships. I'm just very cold. But the Lord really does change everything and softens you. A lot of us weren't meant to be this hard. We weren't born to be this hard, but our environment, things we experienced just hardened us. And I really believe that the Lord doesn't even want that for us, okay? he doesn't. So you have to seek the help. You have to also trust him to lead your mental health journey. And when you pray, it don't just happen overnight. You know, I pray, but I also trust the Lord to do his thing. It might take some time, you know, but I compare the Kareen I am today to the Kareen I used to be, and I see the evidence of him actually working on me. Seeking him daily, reading my Bible, praying, it really helps. But put therapy together, because God gives doctors intelligence to even help us. And therapists and psychologists, a lot of Christians don't believe in therapy and psychology, but God gives us the understanding. And I believe that God is so patient with us and so forgiving and so long suffering, because he too understands trauma and he knows what's our fault and not. This is why some people hate when you tell them that, but God can even forgive a rapist. He can. You might see some rapists in heaven, and it's not because, oh my goodness, how could God let this person in? He understood their trauma that went back where it might be hard for us to forgive. He forgives. I know that sounds very controversial, but he understands our trauma more than anyone. But this is all I have to say for this video. Please comment below your thoughts. And I love you guys so much, really. I really want you guys to be your best self, okay? And do self-reflection. Before you send this to anyone else or think of people that might be suffering with this, always do self-reflection first and be like, do I fit these categories? I might need to check this out. I might need to get the help, okay? So we can break generational curses with our children, with our spouses, and just live in happy homes. I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. Comment below what other videos you guys would like to see. Until next time. Mwah.